and it's the last month of the year. I don't want to say that God saved the best for last, but you know, He did. Everyone, welcome to the last episode of 2021 with Between Sisters. I am Kaya, your host, and I am here with my co-host. First in was Keish, aka my Sagittarius twin sis.
That's right.
Second in was Shauna Dawn, aka Aliza Story. Third in was EVE. What was she doing in the morning?
Oh, come on, bitch. Come on.
Last but not least is Bougie Couture herself, Cho Lubby.
Bars, sis. Bars. That was good. Bars.
Fab Maven, the official brand of the Maven movement, a bold and unapologetic brand for the culture that uplifts and empowers. A brand that says, we got something to say. So go to fabmaven.com right after this episode and get your shop on.
Okay, so since it's the last show of the year, I figure we need to tackle some of the greatest topics, the most wildest, craziest, noteworthy topics of the year. And I just want to start off by saying Jussie Smollett has been found guilty just 5 seconds ago.
Sure did.
Well, he was only found guilty of 5 and not 6 of the disorderly conduct.
I was going to say 5 counts, but you know.
Yes, it was only 5 and not 6.
Do we think he's guilty?
Yeah, even Dave Chappelle said he was guilty.
No,
He did say Jussie was guilty.
You'd be right.
Yeah.
What was his? I just want to know what would have been his reasoning behind creating
A lie.
that lie. Yeah, because it's not as if he didn't have popularity at that time. Empire was a popular show.
Was hot.
Empire was a popular show, so I couldn't understand. I mean, for him to, if he is guilty of it, what was the rationale for creating the fake story? I honestly can't see what would be his reasoning. It wouldn't be for him to get jobs. It wouldn't be.
He may have been already on a hit show, which was Empire with Taraji, but
Terrence Howard,
aka Terrence. But he did not have Idris status. He did not have Will Smith status. He did not have some of the A-list actor status that is prevalent. He was on a hit TV show, but he wasn't like doing cross screen. He also had albums out and songs out, but he was not killing it like a Cardi B. You know what I mean?
Again, I still wouldn't see, even in what you're saying. Remember, he was just bursting on the scene. We all know Journey. No one remembers the television show that him and his siblings were on, that was on ABC years ago.
Right.
No one remembers that.
Right.
However, we all know, most of us know who Journey is.
right?
He was now getting his recognition, which is what happens with many people. You know, they finally get on that breakout show or movie or have that breakout song, and now people are starting to know them. So again, I don't see the reasoning for him to have created that story, because he was now bursting out on the scene. It was his time. It's how they say it was his glow up season. So why?
What do men with power want? More power.
It has nothing. But
What do men with fame want? More fame.
But
Maybe, you know what? I'm gonna play devil's advocate. Maybe he was doing it to show people that Trump supporters were assholes.
And that's my thing. Was that the reasoning, to show that there was so much happening with the racial hate crimes against Black people because Trump was in support of all of the, what do you call it? Because it's more than just white supremacists. It was a combination of what he was promoting. So was it for that reason?
But the thing about the story, it sounds so far-fetched. It was just the rope and the check, and it just sounds.
But see, here's the thing. Bubba had an incident, the car racer had an incident also with the rope.
Yes.
But you know what?
How far-fetched could it? A lot of things may have seemed far-fetched that really were not far-fetched things that really did happen to people. Like you'll hear the story, you'll be like, what?
But Bubba's situation was also called into question months later.
But they still haven't.
The detective that was on the case for Jussie,
Jussie, why y'all calling that boy Juicy following Dave Chappelle?
It just sounds better.
Jussie.
It just sounds better.
No, because we don't want anyone cutting up our names.
Right. So
people do it to me all the time. I don't even care no more.
So Jussie, the detective on the case, he said that one of the first clues that made him realize that, or made him think that he was lying, was that when he came into the precinct, he still had a noose on his neck. He said the average person, like if somebody just try to hang you, the first thing you're gonna do is try to take that noose or that rope from around your neck.
Around your neck.
He walked in with the noose around his neck. So anyway.
Well, I mean, I don't want to belabor Jussie, aka Jussie's situation. It just first came up. That was came up right before we started recording. But I want us to tackle our year in review. And who wants to go first on their tops?
The riot. Sure.
What riot would you be talking about?
January 6th.
The Capitol in January.
I think the top is still COVID, because it's still here.
True.
And we still home, and
COVID still COVIDing.
COVID is still COVIDing.
COVIDing.
And it's getting a little rough out there.
Yeah, it's going back up. So
with this,
all of the states that were down.
Omicron.
Because of the Omarion.
But I don't even know if the numbers are Omicron numbers or if they're just COVID numbers. I believe they're COVID numbers. Not even the variant numbers. They're COVID numbers. And I think a lot of that has to do with people taking screenshots of other people's vaccine information and presenting it, knowing that they're not vaccinated, and just going around people and spreading the virus. And that's my personal thought.
As a nurse, anyone that dies now from COVID because they don't have a vaccine, stupid. That's a senseless death. I'm sorry.
Well, people still have their doubts. People still have their doubts about the vaccine and why they don't believe they should have it.
At this point, we've been getting the vaccine since last November, December, and you don't hear too many deaths about people or reports of people dying from the vaccine, or people growing a 11th finger, or people having a third eye, or people be turning into zombies. Right. I haven't seen those reports. So anybody that's still sitting there saying they putting a chip in our bodies, come on, son. Stop.
I actually had a parent at my son's school a few weeks ago tell me that she's not getting the vaccine because she does not want to turn into a zombie.
Well, we just most recently had Jedediah Bila on The View when The View was bringing in, past co-chairs, and she stated that she has a medical condition that she can't get the vaccine, and her doctors state that it's correct, she cannot get the vaccine, and she just started putting more information out there that has been disproven.
I just want to know what
medical condition
illness she had.
Right.
And granted, there are people out there. So whoever out there that really can't get the vaccine because of a medical condition, I'm not talking.
There are people.
It is the couches and going to parties and going to supermarkets and hanging out in the public and don't want to get the vaccine, and then you die 2 weeks later. You're dumb.
I think the proof that the vaccine was okay was when all of the prominent rich people were the first ones in line.
A lot of people.
I'm just putting that out
You mean
there.
like when Trump and his wife got the vaccine?
All of them got
before they left the
vaccinated.
White, right?
So waiting to see
To see what happens. All of them were the first ones in line.
A lot of people.
Okay, so what are the top stories besides COVID? Because we could clearly be here all
We
night
can go
talking
on and on about COVID.
I mean, Yvette started it off. The attack on the Hill on January 6th. I mean, that alone, we're still living through the stories and the denial of terrorism, because that was an act of terrorism,
right,
done by Americans on the Hill.
Yep.
No
Well,
ands,
Trump
ifs,
just-
supposes, maybes about it. It wasn't people from another country doing it. It was Americans on American soil storming the Capitol because they were not happy with the outcome of the elections. Now, imagine if everyone would have done that when Trump won the election.
Oh.
But he actually didn't win. He lost by 3 million votes.
No, she's saying
No.
We won't get into what happened then either, right? We won't get into what happened then. But I mean, the fact that there's still talk every day. You're hearing that what happened on January 6th, like what we witnessed, what I sat and watched as I was working with noise in the background and news.
It didn't hurt feelings.
It did not happen. It did not happen. Our eyes lied to us. It wasn't, we didn't see people storming. We didn't see them breaking windows. We did not see any of those things happen. We didn't see them sitting in people's offices, vandalizing. That did not happen. We did not see that.
So, how many officers committed suicide? Was it 1 or 2?
We won't even talk about the officers that committed suicide. I mean, because they want to discount that as well.
Now 3.
That's crazy.
I'll obviously fact check that, but I believe it's now 3. There have been arrests for the January 6th, but not nearly as much as we thought would be, and not nearly the amount of time that we thought people would get. That a lot of them have been given their passports, and they're not a flight risk, and we still have the Speaker of the House, the minority leader of the House,
who at one point did it.
And I don't want to say that everybody picks their boogers, but when you have a specific look, it just.
Yo, she really thought about that really hard just now. If you saw her face, I thought she was gonna say something like she was really distraught of something.
I try not to just blanket stereotype people, but certain people, for a fact, and they do it in public. They don't even try to wait until they don't mind doing it in public.
Yeah.
But there has been so many crazies from the now the Trump's party that have gotten elected, that have done and said some of the most heinous things. Now, I'm not saying that Dems didn't do that either, because Biden is still on my list, but still sowing seeds of discord and hate and lies. And this is the party of the morals, supposedly,
the party of family values.
Family values. There you go. So besides that, what else is there in the news?
Well, we can talk about in New York, Andrew Cuomo.
Chris Cuomo. I'm just like, you got to do both Cuomos.
Well, during the height of COVID, everyone wanted to hear from Andrew Cuomo. People out of state wanted to hear from Andrew Cuomo because they felt that they were getting so much information from his daily press conferences to at the top of the year, then we hear all of the accusations of what the number, the information and the numbers with the nursing homes was incorrect. And then, more fills in. Then it's the, the attack that he's allegedly has harassed women in the office, till now Chris Cuomo advising his brother, which I don't care what anyone say.
We all would have did the same.
His release from CNN, he did not commit a crime. What
it just looked bad.
Well, if we're considering him a journalist, and I'm not sure if we do really consider Chris Cuomo a journalist, but if we consider him a journalist, using his influence as a journalist to get information to assist his brother on talking points and how to answer questions. Morally, it's wrong with regards to the job, but that's his brother, and I don't see anyone who would not do that for their sibling. I mean,
the only thing I could think of is, because I honestly thought about that in the very beginning when everything started, because I watched CNN. At one point, I used to watch it like all day long. I had to refrain from that. But anywho,
Yeah, me too.
I thought about Chris, and I'm like, how is Chris handling this and still being on TV? And I'm pretty sure his bosses sat him down. So I'm pretty sure there was a conversation with him, and they probably said, Chris, are you going to be okay with the situation with your brother and you being in the limelight?
Well,
he didn't talk about it.
He didn't talk about it, and he didn't talk, and he made it clear that he wasn't going to talk about it.
Right.
Sure, behind the scenes, I'm pretty sure behind the scenes there had to be a conversation. If he was my employee, I would have had him come in my office. Listen, your brother is in the hot seat.
Right.
He's said on his show that he did have conversations with the powers that be at the station, and it's a conflict of interest.
On it.
He actually spoke on the fact that he did have a conversation with the big bosses.
So I'm pretty sure it wasn't a thing where he was in the office for 2 minutes. It's all right, just hang in there. I'm pretty sure there was some kind of guidelines set for him.
But what kind of guidelines could they have set? You can't set a guideline.
It's news.
Listen to me. You cannot set a guideline on what information I can do with my knowledge with my siblings. At least 3 of y'all have called me to ask me questions on how to handle a situation.
No,
I will walk you through. And
that's
as
true.
a sibling, I think
that's true.
I will walk my sibling through. I'm sorry. He's an attorney.
I would too, but he represents a big network. So the network, one thing I learned with the powers that be, they not going down with you.
But Keisha, he didn't do, what did he do that was illegal?
He didn't do anything illegal.
He didn't do anything
It
illegal.
was said that he did try to get dirt on
the women
that.
But that's not illegal.
But that's
listen, journalists, and I only know this because I'm a part of the National Association of Black Journalists. But journalists do take an oath. It's not the Hippocratic oath that doctors take, but they do take an oath about it's called the Journalist Shield Law. Number one, they're not supposed to reveal the sources on stories that actually they're investigating. He's not investigating any stories with Andrew, because if he was, then he would be reporting it on his show. Right. You know what I'm saying? So this is no longer, but because of the fact that he has the title of journalist and of a lawyer, he also took oaths as a lawyer as well.
But is he a journalist? Is he a journalist?
I believe that Chris Cuomo is a journalist.
Does he? Wait, okay. He probably believes he is. So if he does believe that, like we said in another
let's
show,
look and see.
Right.
That's what you are. Because he represents this big company. So I listen,
Right.
if it was my sister or my brother, I would have done
Now,
that.
if he was on Fox News, I'd be like, no.
So they consider him an
It
American
says-
television journalist.
Yes, it says that he's a journalist. Yeah.
So again, his crime is an ethical one
Right.
as a journalist. But at the end of the day, my brother's my brother.
Right. And I think
My brother's my brother.
Yeah.
that's how he looked at it.
But the thing about it is,
That's how he looked at
the
it.
thing about it is, and again, I don't want to belabor the situation with Chris, but I don't think that we'd be saying the same thing if it was Eric Trump and Donald Trump Jr. doing the same thing.
No.
I don't believe so.
Your
No,
brother.
because
Or Ivanka
it
doing the
doesn't
same
have-
thing.
Because
But remember, they had an issue with Joe giving what's the name to Hunter.
and
But
that,
if we
well,
found
that's
out
the
that
thing.
Ivanka was trying to get dirt on women that accused her father, I don't think we'd be like, you know what? It's her father. She could do what she wanted to do.
And what
Nobody's saying that she could do what she wants. Nobody's saying that.
Right.
We're just saying it's not illegal.
You know what I'm saying, but we know it's not illegal. But we're all like, listen, that's his brother. He could do. We're like, yeah, I would do the same thing. But if we saw a news story about Ivanka trying to get something on the women that accused Trump,
Which they have.
and there have been many.
Which they have.
But that has been done.
That has been done.
I know, and we probably, if we did a story on it, if we actually did a show on it, we would have ripped Ivanka a new one. That's what I'm saying.
Right. Okay, so but Ivanka,
right, I'm right. That's all I want to say. That's all I wanted to say. Like, you right, sis. That's all. That's all I want to say.
What happened, Yvette?
No, I said I concur. When she was explaining, I said you're right.
See, that's all I'm saying.
You're right.
Because when the players change, then you like.
And you know what? I'm gonna say something. I'm gonna let you know something. If Ivanka worked for Fox News, they would have fired her ass too. Because one thing, when you got a big conglomerate, they not going down for your little ass.
So Tucker Carlson yet.
Tucker Carlson and
they fired Sean Hannity.
What's the chick's name that simple Simon? I forgot her name. The shut up and dribble chick. She just as simple too, and she just be spewing lies. Laura Ingram.
Laura Ingram.
They ain't fired these mofos yet. And they spew lies every day.
That's crazy.
So my favorite stories at the end of this year was from Fox News. The clip of
with the U.
The U.
I really believe that was almost staged. I feel like it was staged.
Did she really not know? So it was like the like who's on first, like what's on second, and you keep saying who's on first, who like who's on first. She didn't understand.
and he was like you
so right.
She was like, I never did a show about measles. He was like, no, you to show you. I never did a show about you.
I never did a show.
I think I saw it.
He's like, no, it's a.
He was like, never mind. After a while, he was like, never mind.
He was getting angry.
I saw it. Yeah, I saw it.
He was getting real angry.
Yeah, he was. He was like, never mind.
She was like, no, I've never done a show of measles.
He probably was like,
I've never had measles.
Like,
when somebody just look away like.
He was so mad, but it was so funny.
Can I say one?
Of
course.
Knickerdoodle.
Oh.
It just happened. But when I saw that show, hey Nick, can I just say I just love his show. He is so talented, number one. He's so musical, But Nick Cannon's, what was he, 5 months?
5 months.
5 months.
He died of brain cancer. And
So
when I say I sobbed,
I did too.
I
So
sobbed.
Watching that episode.
Because he had the show the next day, and he had D-Ray, and he had Dr. Ish, he had Rosenberg, as his bros to kind of help him through the show. And seeing D-Ray in that light, I was like, D-Ray can be soft. Because D-Ray is always crass and
hardcore.
Yeah. But I was
hardcore.
Wow. Okay. But I mean, that broke my heart. We all know that Nick has been in the news this year for his plethora of baby showers. And it was just sad. Nobody wants to bury a child.
No.
And
you watched it, were you watching it in the present where
real time?
So you didn't even know that he was gonna say that. Oh yeah. So you must I would have cried too.
I wasn't ready.
When he was telling the story, did you think like he was gonna report that his son was sick? Because he kept like choking up.
Stopping, yeah. Because I'm just like, no way he'd be at work.
Yeah.
I know the day after.
But he was.
Days, so however long it was.
Prayers to Nick and his family and the siblings and the mom. That's tough. That was tough. That was very tough. But he came out with his pink suit the next day. Nasty.
I used to be in love with Nick.
Really?
Like when he was in Drumline, I used to like have the OD crush on him.
No, not Drumline.
I love Drumline, like because of Nick Cannon.
Because of Nick. Yeah.
Okay, so next time you watch it, like now because we don't watch it like 100 times in my house, I always get a kick off when he's playing the drums and his lips.
That bothers me. The lips alone bother me.
I used to fiend over Nick Cannon. Oh my goodness. Oh Lord. Him and Chris.
Oh my God.
I'm not gonna do it.
Oh why? You know what?
And sad to say, another one would be Travis Scott and his festival.
Oh yeah.
AstroWorld.
That's another interesting one. Do you think that Travis Scott is at fault? And with the families that turned down his offer to pay for the funeral,
everything.
Yeah, do you think that
what was shocking was him coming out and be like, I'm countersuing?
I don't think it's because I don't know. Does he really get the blame for it? Is he the one?
He doesn't get the blame for the actual gunman or whoever was shooting, but Travis he was known for like egging on his fans to be rowdy and rambunctious and do stupid shit. You know what I'm saying? So, and he had already gotten like shout out from the cops and security, like, yo, this ain't what it is. You need to kind of pipe it down, or ask the people. And he's like, nah, not. You think everybody is going to just know when to cut it.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So you still, because yeah.
So then what we're saying is entertainers need to be more mindful of the messages that they send out to the audience, because I mean, this isn't anything new. The incidents happening at events of this nature has happened over and over and over. Guns N' Roses had an incident.
In rock, I was about to say in rock concerts.
And Guns N' Roses isn't even the only group.
They were passed out.
Guns N' Roses isn't the only group that has had an incident with fatalities. So the message would be then entertainers should find other ways of moving the crowd. Because for them, that's what they're doing. They believe that they're moving the crowd. That's their way of moving the crowd. You had artists who would jump into the mosh pits with the people, like that was their way of, engaging and moving the crowd. So now we have to really think of ways to find a different and alternate route of moving the crowd.
But
Rakim had an alternate way.
Rakim did not move the crowd in that sense. Rakim's tone.
Rakim said, "Cause to me, MC means move the crowd."
Okay, number one,
She's mad at
Rakim is
him.
not a hype. Was never a hype. He wasn't a hype rapper.
Right.
If majority of the entertainers that move their crowds that way, that's how they entertain. That's what they do.
But at some point, when did we put everything on other people? Like, why isn't it the person has to be responsible for what they do? It's not that
because we live in a litigious society, and you can sue anyone just because. I mean,
well, then in that case, with the dude that just shot up the school in Michigan, and his parents now being charged
his parents
with involuntary manslaughter.
His parents.
15.
His parents took their 15-year-old, bought him his Christmas present that they actually were proud to buy him, and were hyping it up. That they actually was, yay, so and so got his present today.
They all
did they really teach him the responsibility of gun ownership?
Of course they didn't.
Did they teach him the
The
responsibility
fact that the heifer
handle
allegedly texted this nigga and was just like, "I'm not mad at you. Next time, try not just don't get caught."
Don't get caught.
That's why they're responsible.
But it's very telling, because you purchased a firearm for your child who mentally wasn't stable.
That's crazy.
But did you see I think this was the story that really did something to my spirit. The original picture that was shown of this fool was that of the little bullied child. I think he was in 8th grade at the time when they took the picture.
That's
the
image that they're going to put out there.
That's the story. That's the real story.
But that's what they did with Kyle Rittenhouse. They showed this picture of him crying.
Right.
Allegedly crying when he was testifying. And now his attitude is he doesn't like LeBron James anymore, because LeBron James' attitude was like, yeah, I don't see no tears.
Not for nothing.
Say it to his face. Say it with your chest to LeBron's face. That's all I'm gonna say.
Let's be honest. A man that has built schools and support communities.
Right.
You think he give a shit about a kid whose parent drove him across state lines to commit crime? You think LeBron actually needs to create a fund to take care of kids of his stature who need help from the damn parents that they have, who are very irresponsible, who aren't paying attention to their children's mental health, who actually promote and condone the crazy. Because as a parent, you get in a car with your child and drive them across the state line with firearms, and they had no intent to use it. They were a victim. Bullshit. When you walk out of your house and cross state lines with artillery on you, you have the intent to do something.
I'm still waiting on Attorney General Garland to step in and be like, look.
Especially his story was he went to protect these businesses.
The dealership.
I love Brooklyn, but I'm not gonna go and protect the beauty supply store I love.
You know the store, the beauty supply place on Noose Street that we love. Noose Street, and we gonna go in.
But honestly, I was going to say, was it only me, or was it just me who laughed when seeing him cry?
No, I wanted to punch him in his face, honestly, because when I saw how he was, and he was like trying to see if anybody was looking.
Oscar goes to I'm in here like the Oscar.
Like exactly, and the Oscar goes to.
But I still have a bigger issue. I still have a bigger issue with that situation, because I believe that his mother should have CPS at her door.
Yes.
CPS should be at his mother's door because
Yes.
as a parent, you drove your child across state lines with firearms to protect businesses.
That you have nothing to do with.
You do not get a cut.
Me as a mom, I'm gonna drive my child across state line with fire. So what if it now had it turned different? Her son was murdered. As a mom, you drove your son to his death, and CPS isn't doing an investigation on this woman?
I really believe that Michigan set a precedent with charging the parents who just happened to flee and was hiding in a warehouse in Detroit.
They were not running away.
But my thing is, y'all gonna go to a warehouse in Detroit?
Outside of your area. You literally left Michigan to go to Detroit.
Detroit is known for Motown. It's known for the cars, the auto.
I actually cried when I saw the 4 students that got killed.
Oh my God.
When I saw their pictures, I cried. I said, that could be my child.
So
because the he was a football player. He tried to rush him.
Yeah.
I think we spoke about this before. When children commit these types of crimes, with school shootings and things of that nature, people never really think about the parent and what happens to the parent when they continue to live in the community that they live in. They still have their jobs. No one ever thinks about the parent, because it isn't always the parent's fault when these kids do commit these types of crimes.
Because some of the parents have called,
have tried to get help for their children.
True.
So I feel bad for those parents, because I'm sure the community is so hard on them. I'm sure it's hard for them to go back to work and face their co-workers. I'm sure, because it's like, oh my God, my child has committed a heinous
walk around
crime.
with a scarlet letter on literally for the rest of your life. You'll always be known as.
Right. But then to see that you have these parents who are co-defendants.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're codees.
Yeah. Yeah. They need to all be on that stand together.
Because
being charged with the same crime.
You put your 15-year-old son a gun, and if the state is a holding carrying it, you want to use all of these excuses.
But he was 15.
But the fact, I think this story kind of hit a little harder because of the fact that they had just had a meeting with the parents that morning.
With the school, right.
The morning.
But not only that, so here's the thing now. What do you say about the school's staff who said it was okay for him to stay?
Right.
The chancellor or the superintendent basically was like, there was no cause for us to, we don't hold disciplinary records at the school, and there was no cause for us for concern.
And they figured out that.
So your no cause for concern has just left
Four families.
But you know what? I want to dig a little deeper with that. And as I was crying, I was like on a rant and had to calm me down. Because one thing about these kids that shoot up schools, they were not born overnight. This child was developed over years. Bullied.
Mm-hmm.
I remember when my daughter was in 4th grade, and she started having some learning disabilities, and we had a IEP meeting, and 2 of the teachers was telling me and I never experienced any child getting bullied, so I didn't know what it felt like to have a child that was getting bullied. And so the 2 teachers, now mind you, like I said, she was in 4th grade. The 2 teachers were like, oh, and children are starting to notice that she has a learning disability and they starting to treat her differently. But I wasn't picking up on what they were saying until stuff started happening.
Right.
When stuff started happening, it was really hitting the fan. Where I was in people's faces, like, you're not going to do that to my child.
Right.
My thing is, if I'm at work and any of my coworkers treated me the way how some of these kids be treating
each other,
they would get fired immediately. And there's a lot of teachers, if you're a teacher and you're watching this, a lot of you teachers watch these children get bullied in their classes. And you condone it. You condone it. So that
I'm gonna go to the teachers, some of the teachers' defense, because obviously, my mother has been a teacher for 30 plus years, and my best friend is in the schools every single day. A lot of the control and the authority that teachers and security and police had in the schools are no more.
Yeah, they don't have it anymore.
The children have more rights than the teachers and the staff.
Right.
But you know what, Kaya?
Well, I was gonna say, I have two things to say.
In a suburban area, they don't have to have security. In suburban areas, I'm letting you know, in my area,
they don't even have to have security in the school. But every school has an agent or something that's assigned to the school. But like, it's to say if something was to happen, so this is the person that they call.
Standpoint of what happened. One morning, my daughter tells me that she told a young lady to leave her alone, and she yelled it out loud. And the teacher said, if you don't stop screaming, you're not going to be able to go to the school carnival. And she said, she tried to explain to the teacher what happened. And the teacher said, no, Mackenzie wouldn't do that to you.
Mackenzie, huh?
I was in that teacher's face within 10 minutes. It might have been 5 minutes. That school did not need no security guard, was no ratchetness in that school. And these kids were small. So yes, there's certain degrees where the kids are just so rowdy that you can't control it. But when you have like a pleasant classroom and there's that one kid or those two kids that are getting bullied and you're a teacher seeing it, you need to nip that in the bud immediately.
No, I agree. I agree.
Steve, yes, but it isn't that easy. And I'm going to tell you, there's a lot of reasons why I changed my mind about being a teacher. Had nothing to do with children. It had everything to do with adults. When I was doing student teaching, having conversations with parents about their children was very hard.
Definitely.
And when you are explaining to a mom about the language and their child's behavior, and you have a mom telling you,
but that's not my child.
And you get all types of personalities. And I want to be honest, and I want us to take this thing about in the suburbs, because please believe that in the suburbs do need security.
Obviously.
Suburban parents are like any other person. Just because I live in the suburbs, it doesn't mean that I am prim and proper. Please don't believe that.
Suburban parents is the ones that was going to the school board meetings to protest the critical race theory being taught that wasn't being taught.
That and mask wearing.
A lot of but it's hard because even when you try to reprimand a child for bullying, and then they go to their parent and tell their parent their interpretation of their story that they want to tell. And now you as the teacher, how you reprimanded the child, and then you have a parent coming to you telling you that you're not going to speak to their child
in that manner.
And it's like, I wrote a note, I had a conversation with your child, this is what happened. And you have parents who don't want to do anything. There was a situation, it just happened this week on social media. Apparently this mom and daughter is a dance team, and the mother a little boy said something to her daughter, called her the NIGGA. And she told, I guess, the teachers or whatever, and the principal or whomever called all the kids in to their office to have a conversation with the kids. Now, the mother went on social media and I guess had the recording of her speaking to the principal, basically saying that I don't appreciate you not reaching out to me when it happened, and my child had to let me know, and you have the kids in your office talking to them. Now, I believe this mom thought that what she was doing was the correct thing. She took it to social media, and of course, she had all of her people, all of the comment section saying, "That's right, girl, let them have it." The school actually did the correct thing.
Right.
You are supposed to get the kids together.
Right.
You resolve the situation and you have the conversation with them, and then you notify the parent.
Yes.
You don't notify the parent first.
Right.
Now, if you have parents that believe that principal did something incorrect,
right,
and now go to social media to talk about that they call my child, they have my child in the office and didn't tell me. That's a problem.
That's what they're supposed to do, yeah.
And
that is a problem. So I say that to say, she's calling and I'm calling the school board and I'm telling the school board, I don't appreciate that. And that's like, but they did what they are supposed to do. And if you're not comfortable with that, then homeschool your child. Homeschool your child.
If every parent that had a child that bullied kids in school were notified that your child has 3 strikes and they're out, and then you have to homeschool your child, guess what? That child will learn how to stop bullying, because if those parents, listen, let me tell you something. Back in the 70s, when my cousin came to this country, we were all living in one house and everybody was speaking Spanish in that one house. And he came to this country not speaking a lick of English. They told his mother, if your son does not learn how to speak English, he's out of here. Guess what happened? Everybody in that house started speaking English, and my cousin started learning how to speak English.
Okay, well, number one, parents should have had a conversation with the school, because in the 70s, a lot of schools had bilingual classes. Because when my sisters came to this country in the 70s, refused to speak English. She only spoke Spanish. She was and there was a lot of kids.
The
point that I'm making is, as a parent, the school could not have told you that your child will be out.
They did that.
Then they had a lawsuit.
You got a lawsuit against you, Keish?
It was a lawsuit.
ESL. What happened to ESL? ESL is supposed to be in every school.
And I mean, unfortunately, they didn't know better to get a lawyer, but that's what happened. And my whole thing with these kids is, if you're bullying on a regular, you hurting people's feelings, and you getting people to want to commit suicide. I had one case where the girl was part of the popular group, and then the group turned on her because they thought she said something wrong. Even the mothers of the daughters turned on her, and this little girl tried to commit suicide off of that nonsense.
But here's the thing. I don't know if there's such a thing of stopping bullying. I don't.
No, there's a thing that's called stopping bullying, because you go to work tomorrow, you start doing what them little kids do to your employees. Guess what, Keisha? You will be unemployed. And Barack.
Listen to what I'm saying. I, as a parent, can tell my child, punish my child, do all of the things I need to do to tell my child to stop bullying. Your kid can still go to school the next day and bully.
Oh yeah.
I just want to say that my brother's name is Gooch. And the Gooch was the bully from a different world. Okay, I mean different strokes. I said different world. Stay tuned for scenes from the next episode of Between Sisters.
At the end,
I don't ever remember seeing the end. I don't remember the last episode. I don't remember the last episode.
They moved out.
I can't tell you. All I know, I got tired of Florence talking about damn.